Episode number 256.
Investors want to know, like, well, how can you tell a story? And like, what's it going to sound like? What's it going to look like? What am I actually investing in? Because I'm not investing in your trailer and your ideas. I'm investing in your film. And so what is that going to look like? Especially when a lot of these investors have never worked with you.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. Folks, you know your boy is always fired up, as always. But after this, I think you're going to want to think about your business in a big way, meaning a big movie picture kind of way, because we're bringing you our featured guest today, Mr. Christopher Wells. Christopher, are you ready to be real?
Yeah, I'm here.
My man's ready to be real, folks, as always, as we all always are right now. And just so you guys know a little bit more about Christopher, he is a filmmaker. So he is all about taking and getting the right angles and putting the pictures together and getting the music dialed in to make you cry, to make your emotions, to make you feel what he is trying to get the message across to you in that film. He is the owner of Kpictures, which they specialize in a variety of different types of productions, from feature films, video production, commercial photography. And folks, he's been doing it for over 18 years, since established in 2002. And they do a lot of collaboration, folks, with marketing and advertising agencies, working with them, I'm sure, to produce commercials for their clients and things like that. And just a pleasure to have you on the show today, Christopher. How's your day going today first?
It's hot, but
is it hot? Is it hot over there today? Is it humid?
Very, very humid.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing I remember about the beautiful NYC is very humid over there. Even though if it could be 80 and just humid, and it's just like, oh, hot.
Yeah.
Out here we got a dry heat, so it'll be 103 today, but not very much humidity. So your skin it feels like hot, but it feels like it's more baking and not that moist feeling.
Yeah.
Where you feel like you're like not suffocating, but you're just like, I can't get comfortable around here. So tell us a little bit about your journey. You're a filmmaker, something I'm sure that you've always kind of had at your heart and throughout your life. Tell us a little bit about maybe the journey and when you started Kpictures. What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, the inspiration was to not work for the man for my whole life.
Baby.
I just figured that I was working for a big company at the time, wasn't really happy there. I had a client come to me and they basically said, we want to shoot a 3-minute video, and we want to put it on the internet. Well, this company that I was working for at the time, we only did commercials. So I didn't really know what to do. I went to my boss, said, hey, they want to do something and they want to showcase it on YouTube. And she was like, well, we don't do that. I'm like, all right, well, I don't know what to do. And I talked to my editor at the time and he said, well, why don't you do it on the side? So I'm like, all right. So I did it on the side. They loved it. They hired me for some other stuff. And that was sort of the start of starting my own company. So then I just stayed with the old company, the big company I was working for about maybe like 6 months to 8 months, and kind of just said, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to, just jump on it feet first and see where this takes me. And I'm really happy that I did. I mean, obviously there's been times when it's been tough, but I mean, at least I'm my own boss and I really enjoy working with my clients, and I'm able to support myself and to fund my creative projects. So it's great because I love both aspects of it.
So you get to work on the physical kind of projects, which are I'm sure the ones that are the ad agencies. Hey, I got a McDonald's commercial, or I got a local pizzeria, or whatever the client commercial is. I got this vision. I need you to execute it. And then you also maybe take some of that money and then put it into your own visions or pictures or creative. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, one hand, washes the other. Very grateful for my clients, and I do enjoy it. And when you're on a shoot, it's just fun. It's fun telling a story in a very visual way. But there's restrictions with that. Like if you're doing a corporate video, obviously you have to be very corporate. You have to speak that type of language. If you're doing a video for an organization or for a small mom and pop shop, there's a language for that. With creativity, doing either my short films or the feature that's now released, obviously I get to kind of flex my creative muscles, tell more of a narrative story. But even doing commercials back in the late 90s, and these are local commercials that I did, you learn a lot because you learn how to make something in a short period of time with a small budget. Right. And that translates very well when you're doing an independent low budget film, because there's a lot of pressure when you're doing these low budget commercials. So when you're doing a feature, there's going to be a lot of pressure with that. So it's nice to kind of have that experience. So I'm not going to crumble just because something doesn't work out, on a shoot or whatever it might be.
Right. You felt that pressure before.
Yeah, exactly. So it's nice to, have that experience. I think experience is actually, I think it's underrated. I think experience really, it's nice to know also when you're surrounded by people that have experience. It's nice to know that people can problem solve and make sure that things are going to happen and move the project forward. Right. When you're working with people that don't have that experience, and when something happens, you need to make sure that someone knows what they're doing to continue. And
a sane mind, if you want to call it too, so no one freaks out, because when the leader's freaking out, that's not gonna be good for everyone else on the board there.
Yeah,
people are probably curious too. Like, what does the average independent movie usually cost to make?
Oh, well, they're
all varied.
Okay. Yeah. So when I was going to film school at School of Visual Arts in Manhattan, this was in the mid '90s. This is when films like Clerks, Dazed and Confused, or Slacker was coming out.
Right.
Brothers McMullen, and those films cost anywhere between, let's say, $60,000 to $300,000, depending on how you think that the budget is, because production budget is very different from doing the sound mix, doing the sound. If there's a score, original score, then marketing, whatever. So sometimes people think like, well, it only costs $60,000 to shoot. Well, there's a whole world of money that you could spend after that. But low budget films, independent films grew from that, where Hollywood thought, okay, well, people are watching these movies, let's make our own independent films. Well, in the mid '90s, when someone said independent films, you automatically thought that it was going to be a low budget. Now, an independent film could be $10 million, $20 million. You're like, all right, well, that, they kind of changed the definition. So to answer your question, it really depends. It depends on how independent are you? Are you an independent film like mine, which, our budget was well below $400,000, south of that, where, a Hollywood independent film, they're like I said, there can be 10 million plus.
10 million. Wow.
Yeah. But the cool thing is, at least with films, even like mine, we can get it out there because you have this thing called the internet. Right. So now, instead of just being able to have it theatrical release, which would have been great, it doesn't make much sense, because you can market your film very effectively using YouTube and Facebook ads, and you can be on all these different platforms, and people can actually see your film. Right. So so there is a give and take, with how things are kind of moving forward.
Yeah, things are definitely moving forward. I mean, obviously, AMC movie theaters had like 200. Well, the movie theater industry in 1 week had 200 million, and then the next week had $5,000. So let's just be real. That's a big change. So it's a big change, but things will get back to normal, or whatever that is. Whether they're distributing more stuff online, whether the Trolls thing, they did like distribute it directly to you for $20 or whatever, maybe that works. I don't know. I mean, or I think in general, the movie theater experience is going to have to be more upgraded, premium seats, more space in between you, so you don't feel like you're just right next to each other. You know what I mean? And you're going to pay more. You're going to pay more, right? You're going to pay more. Same thing they're saying now about airline flights. You don't want to be on these little packed flights. Okay, well, we're going to make less seats available, but it's going to cost you more to fly now. And so it's kind of interesting. How things will have to change. Are there agencies working on doing new ad stuff right now? I mean, are they filming? How's that working right now with filming?
I mean, things have come to a pretty much a halt, because the thing is that people don't want to spend money now.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure like the bigger companies, maybe they're spending money, because obviously when you watch TV, you see commercials.
You see some ads. Yeah, you see some of these ads that they're putting together something like, be safe. Amazon's got a shit ton of ads, folks. Amazon stock at $3,000 a day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's now $1.5 trillion company. It was just $1 trillion last year. It almost doubled. It almost went 50% more, added 50% more market cap in 6 months through this pandemic. It's unbelievable. So
Yeah,
their
it's
ads,
great.
you see their ads right now, they're all just pandemic, COVID, we're keeping you protected and all those kind of things that they're doing to say that they're keeping you protected when you get your package.
Yep. Yeah. Some industries are going to flourish, and some industries, unfortunately, there was a favorite bar of mine, sports bar on Fifth Avenue, that I got a notice that it was closing.
Yeah.
And it sucks because, they had all these great television, big TVs.
Right.
They had over 200 televisions there. And
Wow.
so you felt like you were at the stadium. And so it just sucks because they've been there for a really long time.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of sad to see these mom and pop shops closing because, there are real people behind those mom and pop shops. And I don't want everything to be turning into a Starbucks.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. Everything's going to either be mainstream or, food, and that's it. I mean, a lot of these malls are going to have to evolve too, because, these big retailers, you got JC Penney's and Forever 21. A lot of these big companies are in trouble. They've been in trouble.
Yeah.
And, the malls and things are going to have to change. But it's so sad. You're right. I mean, that's the thing about this time is these people all had dreams too. Unfortunately, sometimes their dreams, unlike maybe your business and mine, where maybe you can run it for less, the expenses can go down during these times. You can find different ways. They can't, their expenses are kind of hard. They're in Fifth Avenue, they're these high rent places. They got a lot of things going on, and you shut them down. I mean, what can they do? What can they do? So you just pray that these people have a second act, and that they, will get through this and find some other thing, and maybe they'll be able to work their way out of it. And, but going into your projects, what kind of movies do you like producing right now? Tell us a little bit about your movie if you want, just so that listeners can hear more about it.
Sure. Well, the film that's out now is called Alluring. And it's it's a twisted psychological thriller. And we shot it in Vermont. It was a 22-day shoot. We broke every 5 to 6 days. A lot of fun, a lot of hard work to do this. I was, I guess, initially inspired by a short film called The Red Balloon. It was done in 1956 when I was a kid. They showed this film throughout, my grade school years. And I just was very influenced by that because it was the first time that I saw a short film, or I didn't really know that it was a short film. It was a half-hour film. But it had this object that had its own soul. It was a character in a sense. And so I was very influenced by that just sort of kind of struck me. And just the colors and the pacing. And the Red Balloon is not a scary film by any means, but just, I don't know, there's something about it. There's just a certain kind of look to it that I just stayed with me. And so when I had the opportunity to shoot my own film, I thought, well, that's something I might want to kind of incorporate into my film. And then you also kind of take people that and you use poetic license to, kind of rearrange who they are, and you kind of implement that into your script, into certain characters that you're writing. Like, okay, I know this person that has this quality. Let me kind of take that, put it into Claire. And I know a person that has that quality. Then I'll put it into Jennifer, or whatever characters that you're writing. And I just wanted to write a film that really disturbed me, because I like to be uncomfortable. I like to sometimes make my audience feel a little uncomfortable. I like to kind of talk about things or show things that maybe aren't really off the beaten path. My film does talk about, or kind of show a relationship, and it does talk about or show dominance versus submissiveness, and certain expectations and what manipulation can do. And sometimes people can get angry at that. They can feel something very strongly. And some people go, oh, well, that person deserves it. Okay, well, whatever it is, you're feeling something. And so I did my job as a director. But yeah, it was, like I said, it was a lot of fun. And I have other projects that are kind of been greenlit, which is nice. I'm doing an animation film, a short film, and we're going to be I guess we're in pre-production for that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So and animation is, with the virus, everyone can work from home. So that's a nice kind of thing. And then right before the coronavirus hit, I was in post-production with this web series called Good Question, where we took regular people, we kind of put them in a studio and we asked them thought-provoking questions. And so we're almost finished editing that. And we can still shoot, because we can actually shoot at Prospect Park and shoot people outside if once we do season 2. So there's projects that I'm doing, and I'm also writing another horror/comedy But with the pandemic, even if I got the money today, I wouldn't be able to shoot tomorrow. So that's kind of taken a back burner for now.
Right.
But I'm still developing the script, but I'm keeping myself busy, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, as you always can. I mean, maybe your best idea will happen during this pandemic. You don't know. I mean, that's the fascinating thing about this whole thing. How do you get funding for a movie? There's certain investors that go invest in these kind of movies?
Yeah. So with The Luring, what we did was we shot the first scene of the film and we shopped that around to investors. And one of the things that the investors were very impressed with is that they knew that I had skin in the game because, I'm showing them the first scene of the movie. And when you shoot a scene in a movie and not shoot a trailer, you could tell the investors, and it's true, you're saying, look, this is the start of the movie. Or it doesn't have to necessarily be the start of the film. It could be in the middle or the ending, whatever, but you're showing them something that it's going to take off because it's complete. It's mixed. It looks great. It's color corrected. Everything is ready to go. And now we just need if you want to hear the rest of the story, or if you want to, if you're curious about where this is going to go, we need the money to tell that story. And so the investors really appreciated that I had my own money in it. I think for other filmmakers that are trying to make a film, like this is the best way to make a film.
Right.
If some people, I know filmmakers that they try to shoot like a trailer, but that's not going to make it to your film. So investors want to know, like, well, how can you tell a story? And like, what's it going to sound like? What's it going to look like? What am I actually investing in? Because I'm not investing in your trailer and your ideas. I'm investing in your film. And so what is that going to look like? Especially when a lot of these investors have never worked with you. Some of the investors have. So some of them I had a relationship, but some of them are new. And so that was key. With the animation, I have an investor that invested in The Luring is investing in the animation. And with The Good Question, the budget is so small that that's pretty much my own money.
Gotcha.
But who knows? I mean, you can always get executive producers anytime at any phase, because people sometimes they want to invest in projects that they like, and just for artistic reasons they just want to be part of something.
Right.
So even like with Good Question, I am talking to investors that might want to invest in season 2. So it really kind of runs the gamut. And you can also you can raise money doing online campaigns.
Yeah.
They're hard too, and we did both for The Luring, but I think people they think, oh, you just slap something on the internet and people are going to invest. That's not really the case, and it takes a lot of work.
Are you familiar with Legion M?
No, I never heard of it.
Legion M. They've done a pretty decent job. They are they're basically the world's they're basically like the fans own the movie company.
Okay.
They've done a lot of stuff. They've done stuff with the guys at the Clerks. They've done some different types of movies. Different types of movies. Got a lot of different stuff. There's stuff with Kevin Smith, and they're doing Jay and Silent Bob. Kind of, I don't know. They just do tons of different movies, man. They just do tons of different stuff. Fascinating. I'm actually invested in them to them. Just doing, it's just like you said, anyone can invest into them. You know what I mean? It's like seed investing. So it's just a fascinating new way of the world. And they're doing Twitch, and they got all these new things going on in the world. The world is evolving. It's just a fascinating place. I've always had an idea for a movie for social powers, using the powers of charm and using the powers of the powers that everyone has. Like we all see Superman, he can fly. That's great. But did you know that we all can charm someone? Did you know that we can all use the power of the abundance, and in our lives? And yes, maybe it sounds weird, but we all can write that check like Jim Carrey did, a blank check to himself for $1 million, and eventually when he's homeless and it turns into a real check that he can cash. The point is, there's just so many things that we have that everyone actually has the ability to, but they don't realize that that's a superpower. You don't realize that kindness is a superpower, folks. You don't realize that humility is a superpower. So I think it's always fascinating, just because I think that might connect to a lot of people, because obviously we love to be Marvel. Let's be real. Marvel is killing it for a reason, but in a real way, we all have superpowers. And so I always thought that was just an interesting, and I've written a few chapters in the book, it's kind of a fascinating story, but the point is, we all have that, I think we all have an inner story, or, and I always like to remind our listeners that you are the lead actor or actress in your movie right now. And you've created a crazy life where you've been able to make movies that you had in your mind, which is amazing when you really think about that. At the end of your days, you're going to be like, wow, I filmed The Luring. I mean, you did these things. You know what I mean? And so that's the cool part about this life, folks. And you're taking that role, my man. So we're about to take you into our top 10. Are you ready?
Sure.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Netflix or YouTube?
Ooh, YouTube.
Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram.
Instagram. Could you see yourself doing something with Netflix one day with like you're working with them on?
Oh, definitely. But I just know that I spend more time on YouTube because
absolutely. Yeah. There's so much content on there, man. YouTube is a beast. Chicken or steak?
I'm vegan, so I would.
Oh, nice. Okay. Do you do any of the plant-based burgers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. My God, yeah.
Which one's your favorite?
Beyond Beef.
Beyond, baby. There we go. Yeah. Laptop or smartphone?
Smartphone.
Spotify or Pandora?
Spotify.
Movies or video games?
Movies.
Boom. Reading books or listening to books?
Listening to books.
Stocks or real estate?
Real estate.
Real estate. Oceans or lakes?
Oceans.
Boom. Where would be your favorite ocean right now if you could get, you're already kind of on one ocean.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, but if you could get to an ocean for a vacation right now, where would it be?
Well, I went to Hawaii.
No, I love Hawaii.
And my first time, and oh my God, I just loved it. And spent some time in California too. I've been to California a few times. Any ocean right now. I just man, I haven't been to the beach since the pandemic. So
right. Something different about that, huh? Seeing the ocean, being on the beach.
Yeah. I just want it to be clean because unfortunately there's a lot of pollution and it's when I went to Hawaii, it was so beautiful and so clean. I'm like, oh man, people need to do this all over because it's just, it's just like we need to do something because when I go back to New York and I go to Coney Island, it's not the same. But I still love Coney Island. Don't get me wrong. It's just,
absolutely.
Kind of nice to not.
Well, you guys got a lot more traffic and things up there. You guys got a lot more traffic and things and
of course,
people, so
it just sucks. When I go to, I live right next to Prospect Park, and my girlfriend and I, we were just taking out trash we were just camping out, picnicking, right near this lake, and we just couldn't stand all the trash, so we started to just kind of take the trash out of the water, just using sticks or whatever, and we just kind of did that for like an hour, and then we kind of hung out after that. But it just sucks that people just leave stuff. I just don't get it.
Scumbags, man. Jesus Christ, man. I mean, come on, dude. Leave this earth. Leave this earth. If you open a wrapper, please take that wrapper with you, folks.
Yeah,
come on.
Just don't
How
get it.
freaking hard is it, dude?
And there was literally a garbage can that was maybe like 30 feet from the edge of the lake.
Right.
And so I just don't get it. Like, why are people throwing this stuff? Just take it and just throw it away. It's not rocket science. It's just, and who the hell wants to see your trash? Just, I don't get it. So that's why, any water, I just think that we just need to kind of take better care of it and just be responsible. And just like with the pandemic, people need to be cautious. Well, it's the same thing with pollution. And so, we, just throw stuff in the proper dispensaries, you don't throw it on the ground.
Right. Seems like it'd be common sense, but funny. The bluest lake I've ever seen, Lake Tahoe. They keep that thing so dang clean, dude.
Oh, wow.
You can see. I drove a boat into the middle, like what I figured was the middle. I don't know. It's a big lake, and I jumped in this water, and I opened my eyes and I looked around. I was hoping to see Lake Nessie or whatever. She's this dinosaur, kind of Loch Ness monster that's out there supposedly, but. Sure. It was unbelievable, folks, how crystal clear that blue water is. And something about they do a lot to protect it, obviously, up there. But fascinating, something about the water. A couple more questions for you. When you're waking up in your morning, why do you love being you, Mr. Christopher Wells?
Oh, well, sometimes I hate being me because I can be self-destructive. But I love being me because I love the people in my life. So it really isn't me. It's the people that I love that make me happy.
That's a good point. That's a good one. I love that. That's a great point, folks. Do you have a skill you're trying to master right now in this pandemic and the corona?
Well, yeah, I guess so I go to Prospect Park to work out and I kind of come up with these, workouts.
Oh, nice.
So I do this thing where, and they're all different, but there's like this one workout that I'm really trying to get where, I'm kind of doing these push-ups and I run up these stairs and I kind of do all this crazy stuff. And I'm trying to like beat my best time. My best time was 3 minutes and 2 seconds. So I'm just trying to master that, trying to conquer that time.
So
Yeah.
you're constantly pushing yourself. That's a great way to push yourself. It's hard. It's hard not going to the gym, to be transparent with you.
Yeah.
I didn't go like 3 weeks before they shut them down out here in California because I was just kind of getting weary about it all. I was like, this just seems like a place I don't want to be. You know what I mean? It just kind of started going that way, and then now it's just weird. I don't even want to be there because you have to wear a mask. It's just weird. And they're going to close them down again. I mean, they are. They're going to close them down again. It's just, so it's like, why even get used to it? And then all of a sudden, you have to go back. So I've been trying to do the same thing. Just try to find your own routines and it's hard to push yourself. So that's a good point. Get a stopwatch, folks, and create a routine and then see if you can beat your best time. I like that. Do you have a favorite app on your phone right now?
I mean, I've been doing a lot of marketing for the film. So I'm on Instagram quite a bit. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn every now and then.
How do you market on Instagram? I've
been doing two things. I've been writing to people, so anyone that's in the horror community, if I think that they would like my film, I introduce myself and I make it as personable as I possibly can, so it doesn't look like spam because it's not coming from me. Right. And I just say, hey, I think you might like checking out my film because based on the stuff that you like. And most people have been very positive. I just had one person that just thought I was spam. I'm like, no, I'm a real person. And but
you're gonna get that. Yeah, you're gonna get that. But you're doing it authentically, so that they're gonna get people saying you're spam. But most of the people, if you're doing it authentically, you're gonna be like, dude, this is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And we've been marketing on YouTube. We have a distribution company that's doing their own marketing, which is great. But my advice to filmmakers, don't rely on that. You have to do your own outreach, because there's been some people that I just reached out to say, hey, I think you might like my film. And now they're, quote, internet friends of mine, now I look at what they're doing and, like it, and they like what I'm doing. So it's a good way to kind of reach out to people. But yeah, so those are the apps that I'm kind of using, I guess, the most.
Love it, man. Love it. That's awesome. Great strategies. If you could sit down to a lovely Beyond Beef burger with anyone, in the world, who would it be?
Living or dead, or
yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Ooh, God, that's a good one. I probably would want to sit down with Martin Luther King.
Oh, wow.
And I would love to hear what he thinks of what's happening now, because obviously there's things that he has to be proud of, but ultimately he has to be very disappointed in how we're unfortunately, treating one another. Right. And so I think that would be, for me, I would just probably want to just hear him speak, because he's obviously such a great human being, and
probably blown away about social media.
Yeah. I mean, just the outreach, because when he was getting people together, he didn't have social media, and and his "I Have a Dream" speech. How many people were there, and that was without Facebook, without Instagram, and so it's interesting how he if he was looking down, just thinking like, okay, there's all these tools that we can use, but yet there's still such divisiveness, and that's unfortunate, because you would think that it would bring people together. I think what it's done is that it's kind of shown how mean people can be.
Oh, and, absolutely.
It's sad.
Well, it's the message. So the reason why he had so many people there is because his message.
Yeah.
And the reason why right now, it's at scale. Everyone can get a following. You can get people to talk about it, whatever. But the reason why it's not the same is because the message. There's few people out there that do have strong messages,
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that people are also not willing to listen to the other side of the coin. There's always another side of the coin, right? Like this, everything has, they always say, 3 sides of the story, right? Your side, my side, and what actually happened, right? Because we all perceive things differently. You send me a text, I think it's positive, you think it's negative. What actually happened to those? You just send me a text. The point is, we all basically need to realize and relax and accept. I always say at least accept. You don't never have to approve of or agree with, but at least accept the other side of the coin, no matter what point of view it is, no matter where you're at, because there's always another point of view, another story, and you don't have to agree with it. But the problem is we don't even have time to listen to it, And so that is where I think Martin Luther really connected, is because he accepted the other side of the coin. Now, he didn't agree with it, but the message that he had resonated so overwhelming that if there was a Martin Luther King that had his same point of view right now, it would be insane, the amount of following, if you want to call it, he would have, or she would have. And there's a lot out there that already do. You know what I mean? There's a lot of great people out there. But that's just the one thing I think. We're in a pop-off culture. You know what I mean? We're in just like, you say this, I'm popping off. You know what I mean? And it's kind of what, if you want to call it, cool, fun. It's what people do. And so it's kind of almost a new tactic that people just do for fun. It's just like, let's pop off on this guy and tell him how much of an idiot he is, and make his day horrible. And
people can hide behind their avatars.
Absolutely. They would never say that shit to you in person.
No,
never in your any days. And so I always remind myself that quite often.
Yeah, I think people need to be a little bit more nice and just try to speak to people online as if you could disagree with them, but just be respectful.
Right.
I think the lack of respect is just, I see people just writing these horrible, horrible things online. I'm like, come on, you would never say that in front of that person's face. And so, and I just think, getting back to the Martin Luther King, I mean, in the show that I'm doing, Good Question, one of the questions that we ask people is, who do you think Martin Luther King in our current government, who do you think Martin Luther King would be most proud of? And you would think that we should be able to rattle that off. We'd be like, oh, here's 20 people that I think that have the ideals of Martin Luther King. And there really isn't that many people that you can really think of, like, okay, well, who do we think who embodies the love and the spirit of Martin Luther King in our current government? There should be a lot of them. Unfortunately, there isn't. And I think that says something, because we've allowed greed and big corporations and lobbyists to take over our government. And, they're not looking out for everyone, and they're just making us divide. They're making everyone hate each other. And meanwhile, they're making out with the $1 trillion that Trump gave them. And so during the pandemic. And so we're fighting amongst ourselves, and the rich people they couldn't care less, and so it sucks. It's, I think we need to, I think the good thing that's happening with the pandemic and with the protests, and I've been protesting with as much as I possibly can, is that at least people are now, I think they're going to vote more.
Sure. Yes.
Let's, at least we have that. At least,
fuck, dude, that's what I've been trying to tell people forever. I said, dude, that is your answer. Stop talking. I hear so many people talking and don't vote. I'm like, are you freaking crazy? You're going to spend all this time talking and you spend your whole life angry at someone and then just don't vote against them? What in the hell are you doing? That is your one right. Now it's not control. It's all controlled by these people. And I'm like, dude, that's all crock of shit. You still have the right to vote, and you should take that and vote for whoever you want. Yeah. Right? I mean, that's our rights. Kanye is going to be maybe the president. Who knows? Who knows? The point is, like I say, hey, I'm in for all. If whoever the people want is, who are they going to choose? Yeah. And so you can be mad at Trump, but that's who they chose a few years ago. Now, if you want him again, well, then choose not to have him again. Mm-hmm. That's all I would have to say. And it's like anything. I don't necessarily think personally Biden is a better candidate. I'd rather almost vote for Kanye or The Rock or anybody. Give me any kind of independent candidate in the running that has no ties to all this legacy bullshit. But let's just be real. No one wants to run for president, dude. The Rock doesn't want to ruin his whole family forever for presidency. They're going to find some dick pic that he had or something. They'll pull out something. Even though The Rock is the most amazing guy on earth, they're going to find something. So a lot of people don't want to run their whole family through that, which I understand and respect that too. But man, I would love to see another good independent candidate run.
And I think it starts by voting in your local.
Yes.
Because I'm from New York, and AOC she's not part of my district, but I really like her message. I think, there's something to be said. We need more women in politics, and,
yes.
and love her or hate her, she definitely has a voice, and she's very, very smart, and she really cares. And
right.
So I think we need more people like her. And so, that's, she's in Congress, and there's even smaller positions that you have to vote for too. It's not just for the president. So I think people who, like you said, when they don't vote, it's like, well, you're missing the point, because there are people that control your district that you really should know who they are. And those are the people who are going to have a major effect on you, and your governor and your mayor and your, town council, and, whoever, and who's ever in charge of your school, or whatever it might be. It's very important to have that vote. To throw it away and say, well, it's all, people are pulling the strings. Well,
right.
we can pull back. We can definitely pull back. So I think voting and how we spend our money, I think those are the most two powerful things that's our voting power, voting and where we spend our money. If you don't believe in a company, and you think that they're doing something wrong, if they're, doing something environmental that you don't agree with, then try not to spend money on their products.
Right.
Obviously, sometimes it's impossible, because we live in a world that these big corporations do control a lot of what we consume and what we use. But at least you can maybe support that local shop that has organic shampoo, or, that local place that's, doing organic food, or whatever it might be. And so those are the two powers that we shouldn't let anyone persuade us to not use.
Yeah, no one is in control of that. No one is in control of what you do with your time and what you do with your money.
Mm-hmm.
No one. And that's up to you. And anything else is something I would say you really don't believe in that. If you're not willing to really go vote, it doesn't take more than an hour of your time.
Yeah.
If you don't really believe in this, if you're going to spend your whole life talking shit, and then when they ask for 1 hour of your time to go down to the voting place and vote, you don't do it. Now we're going to all be voting from home. It's easier than ever. You just put it in the mail. It's the easiest shit ever. The point is, it's a kind of one of those things. It comes up to what you really want to do with your life. And most importantly, what you said is you are in control of that, man. So take control of your money. If you don't believe in the company, don't spend money with them. Spend it with someone else.
Yeah.
Where is the best place for people to find more about you specifically, or about the business, and learn more about you guys?
Well, I mean, they could go to two sites. I mean, The Luring is, the film's out now, so they can go to theluring.com, or they can go to Kpictures.com, which has got, all my stuff. Theluring.com is obviously just about my film that's out, but Kpictures.com is, has all of my stuff from my, because my clients go there. I also have people that want to see my short films or whatnot.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like one kind of like hub. But every project will have its own website, but they'll all be linked to my Kpictures website.
Got you. We'll put that definitely in the show notes, folks, so you don't have to worry about taking that down, but we'll get that in the show notes just in case. But pleasure to have you on today. I think like anything, man, we're all an evolution of our work in progress, and your progress has been amazing, dude. You are in an amazing place right now. You understand where your strengths are, and I think after we get out of this thing, and when we get through this the Rona, man, obviously continued success in more movies and Netflix opportunities, or who never knows, man. Shit, Apple's turned into a thing. Amazon's now a huge content company, and I feel like the best thing about being a content creator right now is, man, you have an opportunity to really have a big partner when you get partnered up with someone like that. Someone picks up your movie like Netflix. It's a big deal. Really get you out on an even bigger stage, man. So, and I know they're constantly looking for content, so I can only imagine that anyone out there in the creative space needs to take a look at my man and go check out Kpictures. Folks, you've been hanging out with Christopher Wells and Travis Too Tall and Huff. We want to thank you again for your time today, and let's keep being real. What another epic episode. And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. And also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening today. Right now, more than ever, folks, we need to work on our reputation for our businesses. And get those reviews, get those positive reviews, get those positive recommendations on both on your social, but also to market on your website. And that is why you want to check out my business, folks, our software, realtimereputation.us. That's realtimereputation.us. Please check it out. It is literally the best thing that's ever happened to many of our campaigns, as that reviews bring together your social and digital campaigns. And the more positive reviews, as people are making those positive, decisions, they're looking at your, at your reviews. And so the more you can get, the better. And make it easy and automated with realtimereputation.us. Check us out.